One of the best things we get to do in a program like this is all the simulations. From being in the back of the ambulance to a variety of situations we respond to, it all helps prepare us for what we'll see in the field once we start working. I was always in love with the first responders. The lights and sirens always made me super curious. It was basically the adrenaline rush and the constant change that every day is just different all the time, and the amount of knowledge you get to learn from just one call is incredible. Hi, my name is Annie Nixon and I'm a paramedic student. So something useful I would recommend to high school students, anyone younger, would be to expose yourself to the medical field as soon as you can. Whether or not that be taking the EMT course as a running start program here at the college, or going to the hospital and working as a tech, or even a janitor or something, you can expose yourself to that medical field and be able to understand what you're going into. So my dream job would be to work as a firefighter paramedic, and just be able to do water rescue, backcountry rescue. They'll have a boat. They just do a majority of different things, and it's been great to experience that and learn how to be a paramedic in those situations. This is not just another job, but it is a career, it is a life that you're building up for yourself, and there's a lot of connections you need to have to be able to do this job within the hospital and the medical field.
So a lot of the rural areas, like we live here in Northwest Montana, service both fire and emergency calls through the same department. One of the models that we use then is to have all of our members, the EMTs and paramedics, all trained as firefighters as well. So James LaPierre, I work as a lieutenant paramedic firefighter here as the medical training officer for Evergreen Fire Department. We need somebody that's competent, that is able to think critically. We want to develop a clinician aspect where, if something's going on that we can't quite figure out, they have a won't give up attitude. They need to keep digging and keep looking for that source of the problem. I think customer service is a big underrated skill in this industry because we are such a public figure, and every interaction that we have out there with the community is a spotlight. Being an EMT is kind of your first step in becoming a paramedic. It gives you the chance to be out here in the field, running in an ambulance, putting your skills to practice that we would have. We have a one-year paramedic program after that. Once you've made that decision and dedicated your time to becoming a paramedic, it runs the fall, spring, and summer semester. So after 1 year, you're eligible to challenge the national board. There's a written exam and a hands-on assessment that goes along with that to gain paramedic certification. They can do anything from your traditional work in the back of an ambulance that everybody knows who's in the back. They think EMTs and paramedics, and that's where everybody generally gets their start. They get some experience, they get exposure to a wide variety of calls. There's a lot of overseas opportunities, people that are wanting to travel, maybe helping in a third world nation or mission work. Those places are actively seeking people with medical training to help in an area that might not even have a hospital, let alone an ambulance service to respond to them. Paramedics who are so inclined to go on to an even further level of service, you can end your time at a fire department and move on professionally and continue your education into becoming a flight paramedic, which is the top tier of this world. This is where most of the people that want to go further than just what we would consider a standard paramedic go, strive to achieve higher physically and proverbially, and climb into the flight paramedic world. So flight paramedics are generally adept at both the scene calls where there could be a motor vehicle accident or an avalanche that sweeps away some victims, but as well they're trained in the clinical side of it. They're trained in lab values to interpret additional data, CAT scans, X-rays, just generic lab values, things like that they can use as additional information when they're making assessments and treating their patients. Depending on the nature of the call, if it's a traumatic call, we'll get things ready more geared towards stabilizing bones and maybe airway management, versus a medical call where we have to go into the hospital and get a few pieces of equipment to run lab tests and things like that. I really enjoy the high acuity calls, the ones that are challenging. Flying, of course, is super fun if you have the stomach for it. But then getting on scene, these are calls that when they call alert that they just don't have the resources or knowledge to deal with those emergencies. So we step in and it's immediately going through the unraveling of the mystery. What's going on with the patient? What can we do to help them and stabilize them prior to getting them into the transport time? I really love that aspect of digging deeper into medicine. You have to have the physical ability. Sometimes where we land the helicopter might be a half a mile or so or more from where the victim is. We need a flat, appropriate landing zone. So you have to be physically fit enough to be hiking up and down these mountains. We get called into Glacier Park or wherever. And then having the ability also to carry those patients. But aside from that, with these calls were generally assisted with search and rescue or park rangers or other people on scene that can help. As long as you can physically perform the job functions, then we have some older and younger members for sure. With the world of emergency medical services, there's so many different options from being a paramedic standby or an EMT standby on a cruise ship or a country club to achieving the highest mark, which is your critical care and flight paramedic, and everything in between with your ambulance work and everything, or wilderness medicine. There's just so many aspects that you can use your medical training to that effect.